Our next speaker is going to invite the members from MECOPP who are taking part. MECOPP is the Minority Ethnic Carers of Persons project and is Scotland's leading carers organisation for people from ethnic minorities. For years and to have participated in a number of exhibitions organised by MECOPP, such as the Moving Minds exhibition. You can see the storyboards laid out here along the window bays. These sought to relate the experiences of gypsy travellers who provide and receive care. Michelle and Lucy will be able to better inform you. Would you like to come up to the mic? I think they're a bit slow, the age is catching up. Oh, there's a few coming here. Okay. I'd just take this opportunity to say that with the panel discussion which will be taking place, you can also direct questions to the speakers, the guest speakers, based on anything you've heard, and they'll be happy to respond to those. Right, thank you very much.
Moving Minds started about 2013-14, and at that point we thought we might get maybe about half a dozen of the people that we worked with who very publicly wanted to share their story of caring and mental health. It's fair to say now that a few years on, there's over 60 contributors from the Gypsy Traveller community across Scotland. There's two main parts of the exhibition. The large storyboards, a small selection of which you can see on my left. And there's a mixture of ages, genders, where people live, many people in housing, some people living on site, some people living on the camps. So the storyboards are one part of the exhibition. The other part of the exhibition, which I couldn't fit in my car, even though I've got a wee bit bigger car than David, but I still couldn't fit it all in this morning, is called Chattery, which is that people were asked to choose an object that they could hold in their hand which was important to them. So these are just postcards. The actual photographs are obviously much bigger, and there's a display if you want to take these away. So on one side you've got a big photograph, and on the other side it just says why it's important to somebody. There's a huge selection of objects, from peg baskets to frying pan. The frying pan's 42 years old and apparently still frying the bacon. There's a grandchild, there's jewellery, there's a fishing rod, there's a hat, there's a bonnet, there's a book, there's a membership card, a whole range of objects basically that people have chosen to be photographed, and they're significant. But enough from me. I'll hand over to the panel, and maybe people can just introduce themselves and say why they got involved in Moving Minds, if the microphone will stretch. Susan's got her hand ready. I love this.
I'll go first, get over me.
Can you reach? Yep.
Is
it? Is that enough?
So one thing they got me to do is plug this book, which is on sale. This is a Moving Minds book. My name is Susan Townsley, and I got involved with MECOPP must be about 20 years ago. Well, no, MECOPP 20 years ago, but Michelle 20 years ago. And I found the only way I could get anything done in the site that I lived on was going through the MECOPP and then the Moving Minds, and then it come up to the Moving Minds from the awareness sessions. And the Moving Minds it's an exhibition of personal things for each single person that's involved in it, and it goes to different exhibitions all over Scotland. So hopefully it'll keep going soon, even though we're losing I don't want to say it, our best one. We're losing Michelle. So hopefully we'll never get anybody who's like Michelle. Right, you want to mark it?
Well, hello, I'm Margaret Mackenzie. I'm one of the old gypsy travellers. Moving Minds has done a lot for me, because I get to talk about history, family history, like the hard times, the rough times, what gypsy travellers had to do to survive. They still have to do it today, But I see a difference with my own children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. They don't have so hard of lives. They look at me, and when I say things, they go, "You're talking back 60 years ago, 70 years ago." But then again, I'm talking back further than that because of my father and mother, my granny and granddad. And I'm still Jewish yet, even doing MECOPP and finding out things that I could see a difference. But older travellers, like me and Patsy here, it's hard to explain. There's no trust. There's still no trust. But hopefully, when my younger generation, the great-grandchildren grow up, the world will be a different place. I know there's hardships going in other places like the bombings and things like that, and sometimes it puts you into perspective about the gypsy travellers. But we're talking about 100, 150 years ago, further along than that, the Jacobite rebellion sort of thing, because I'm a Stuart from the Stuart clan. And I just hope to see a better world, and people communicates, integrates, and we're not segregated. Because we've been segregated most of our lives. And to segregate, I feel like it's, well, how could I put it? Like the Berlin walls come down. Like that's the way the gypsy travellers were, behind a wall, and the walls come down. Not completely down, not as far as I'm concerned, but you can climb over it. And hopefully, I do see a future with gypsy travellers. I'm talking for me personally, my personal experiences, my granny's personal experiences, my father's personal experiences, and I hope today that you get an insight to what gypsy travellers is really like. I've quite a few stories to tell you, if you're interested, how life was, because nobody really understands gypsy travellers' lives unless they lived it. But I'd like to share it and let you understand. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Patsy Stewart Hilton. I'm half cousin to Margaret here. And everything she has said is true, because I, for one, suffered a lot not too long ago. I had to come up from England. It was when Maggie Thatcher said, "Get on your bike and go and look for work." We moved to England. We were down in England for about 32 years and always wanted to come home. Anyway, to cut a long story short, my dad took no well and Mum sent down for us, so we had to leave our jobs and come back up. We came back to Blairgowrie. Mum wasn't keeping too well herself. She was a semi-invalid, and I had a brother, Benny, who was mentally and physically handicapped. So we gave up our work to come up and help Mum. Anyway, Dad died, and I started looking after Mum and my brother. Then the following year, Mum died, so my husband and I took over caring for my brother Benny. We cared for Benny for 19 years. He died about 3 years ago. And the trouble I had looking after Benny through welfare people, do you know I fought for 2 years to get him nappies? I fought for 2 years. I used to get up 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning because we'd rented a wee house away from where my mum had stayed. We moved to Methven. Anyway, I used to get up 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was thankful for the little utility room that was in the house. And I used to stand there washing sheets that Benny had messed and weed on. And I just couldn't bring myself to put them in. You can't put a sheet in a washing machine that's all covered like that. They have to be rinsed out first. That's the problem that I had with welfare people and social workers. One time they came out, they were out every maybe week, wondering if he was being looked after properly. Benny couldn't have been looked after more, even if he'd been put in a care home. And I would never, ever have put Benny into a care home. I would have died first, because I promised my mum
on her deathbed, and I mean this, she says, don't ever put my laddie in a home. And I never, ever, ever put Benny in a care home. I would have died first. But anyway, in saying that, times was hard, even when Mum... Do you know, my mum didn't even know to... Well, she did know, but she wouldn't do it, to put in for an allowance for my brother, because she was entitled to an allowance for to look after my brother. And it wasn't until my brother, my younger brother, had married a country dilly, as we call them, a towns lassie, and she said to my mum, she says, do you know you're entitled to an allowance for Benny? And my dad went mental at the time. He said, no, they thought if the authorities took over paying your child an allowance, that they had control over you. And that's why they wouldn't apply for anything at all, nothing, never applied for anything. Till later on, when Mum was no well, that's when Avril, that's how my sister-in-law's name was, she filled a form in for my mother and put it away behind my mum's back, and it wasn't until the lady called at the door to see my mum about my brother that Mum found out that she'd done it. But anyway, she was paid an allowance for him, and it did help her a lot. But as I say, times were hard, really hard. But anyway, thanks for listening, okay?
Hello, I'm Cathy Townsley. To follow on what these fine ladies have said, MECOPP means a lot to me, and this book actually means the world to me. I've also got a brother that's in care, but the authorities took him out of my hands. And we're not allowed to see him. So it's just like, you get so stressed about it. And I'm here today doing some events that we did as children with him. And he's a lovely young man, and I don't think I would have coped if it wasn't for Michelle and her staff helping us through it, giving us more guidance. Being a traveller, I've been all over England, Scotland and Wales. I've even been abroad. And it's just been, it's a hard life. Everywhere you go, you get to come back. And it's time for folk to actually stand side by side and be counted. You know, everyone should have a chance in life.
Yeah.
Recently, because of MECOPP as well, I've got a good chance, I've got a good job. I'm now a manager of a township museum, which I thought I would never ever be able to do. But because of these folks in this book, I got the courage to do it. And I'm hoping that things will change so I can get my brother home.
Just when you thought it was safe, I'll pop up again. I just wanted to say that the Moving Minds exhibition, we guess it's been seen by well over 50,000 people across Scotland. It's been in lots of different museums, in libraries, in office foyers, in the Scottish Parliament. It can be borrowed if people want to put it up in their workplace or if they know of an arts centre. There are new boards being created all the time. There's a couple of people at the back of the room who've just been working with our photographer Peter Ross to create some new storyboards. So it is a kind of living, breathing exhibition, and hopefully that will continue to be the case. The whole point of the exhibition was really not only to provide a platform for some of these wonderful stories to be shared, and there's lots more both on the boards, and another plug for the book in the book if you want to take it home. So it's great bedtime reading. A small selection of the stories you've heard today, but there's also some other stories from other people which are just amazing, and it's great that we've been able to record them. But the whole point of the exhibition, just to finish off, was that people who were reading the stories and looking at the objects and looking at the photographs and looking at the poetry would hopefully see the person rather than the label. And that's really, it's a very simple idea. Some of the feedback that we've received in the comments books brings tears to your eyes on a regular basis. So please take the time to read the boards, or if you've got a wee bit spare cash, the book's on a special price today for £10. And I finally just want to ask a special favour, because I am moving on myself, but I've got a really favourite story that's in the book, and one of those storytellers is here with us today. So if she would indulge me now, they're all looking panicked, wondering who it's going to be. But it's a story about Santa and Asdas, and I just wonder, it's a wee short story, and I just wonder if Patsy would share the Santa story. Because it certainly puts a smile on my face, although I've heard it probably hundreds of times. Are you up for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need the microphone.
My brother Benny, who was physically and mentally handicapped, he loved Christmas. Oh, there was nothing like Christmas. And I used to take him into Perth to see Santa in the St John's Centre, or if he was in Asda's. So I said, everybody in my street where I lived used to say, oh, Benny's been at you, Patsy, about Christmas. I used to have my Christmas tree up in October because I never got peace. Anyway, got him ready, went into this town, took him into Asda's, and the lady says to me, Santa's not here just now, he's on a break. And Benny kept saying to me, come on, Fatty, Santa, come on, Fatty, Santa. And I thought, oh, please, Santa, would you hurry up? But anyway, I saw a flash of red coming down through one of the aisles, but my brother had already saw it as well, this red flash, and he said, Fatty, Santa! He brought the whole of Asda's to a standstill. The till stopped, everybody stopped packing their shopping. They looked round at him, and then Santa came over, and Santa looked a wee bit mystified because he thought he was going to be attacked. But anyway, he sat down in his seat, and my brother, who was about 68 at the time, tried to sit on his knee and tell him what he wanted for his Christmas. So that's it.
Thank you to all the contributors, especially thanks to Seamus for inviting us along today, and hopefully we'll get a chance to chat over lunchtime. Thanks.